Here, right underneath our feet, there was a studio of Piet Mondriaan. And here he broke away from figurative art. And, hey, hello. So this is where it all started for the CoBrA movement. So right after Vincent van Gogh and Kees van Dongen, it was Piet Mondriaan who also came to Paris, and he had his art studio somewhere over here. I have to look very close. No, it's further away. Oh shoot, it's no longer there. They built something else there. Yeah. The Tour de Montparnasse. From the 1910s, the art scene, the avant-garde art scene, slowly shifted away from Montmartre and moved more further south to the Montparnasse region. And we are standing now on the Tour de Montparnasse, the tallest tower in Paris, and according to some Parisians, also the ugliest tower in Paris. One problem, because it's so big, you can see it everywhere. And the only way to not see it is to actually pay a ticket to go inside. It's quite a nice business model, I would say. It's 1910, and here, right underneath our feet, there was a studio of Piet Mondriaan. And Piet Mondriaan, he came to Paris, and here he broke away from figurative art. Around that time, Picasso had already introduced cubism, but Mondriaan, he wanted to shift away from that, and he was looking for the essence of art, and he came up with only rectangles and primary colors and black lines. That was, according to Piet Mondriaan, the essence of art. Well, you love it or you hate it, but you cannot deny that this has had a groundbreaking impact on the arts. Without Piet Mondriaan, no Mark Rothko or Bart van der Lek. It is very hard to overestimate how modern Piet Mondriaan actually was. In fact, his very sleek style, his very austere type of interiors really resonated in the Bauhaus movement decades later. His works, his art would still easily fit in modern interiors today. So the two art studios of Piet Mondriaan are all gone, but at least we have this place here, right behind me. This is the place where Piet Mondriaan got his art materials, all the paint and all the pencils and canvas. This is the place where he fetched all that, and this is really where, thanks to this place, he could make his art, his abstract art, the first abstract art in history. He left Paris because of the looming World War I. He came back afterwards, but even just before World War II, he left Paris for good and eventually ended up in New York. And that's where he made his fame as well. But yeah, that was one of the last big things of the Dutch painters in Paris. So this is where it all started for the CoBrA movement. Here at the hotel restaurant Notre Dame, named after that church out there. Yeah, good coffee too. Now, after World War II, people had other things on their mind than arts. However, there was a new art movement popping up here in Paris, the CoBrA movement. And the CoBrA movement, they started here in Paris, although the members of that movement were not French. They were from Copenhagen, Brussels and Amsterdam, CoBrA. And they founded here in November 1948, just a couple of years after World War II. And, hey, hello. Karel Appel, Constant Nieuwenhuis and Corneille, they were the leading figures in this art movement, in this CoBrA art movement. They wanted to show a bit more naivety in art, and more childishness. And they settled in an obsolete warehouse with no running water, no electricity. And yes, the winters can be cold here in Paris. However, nearby was the Boulevard de Montparnasse with the Rotonda and with the cupola and all the big cafes where the artists met with the art collectors. So, well, this could be a good spot to sell your art. It was a short-lived movement. CoBrA only was alive between 48 and 51, so only 3 years. However, this movement would have a lasting impact on the art. Without CoBrA, there is no Andy Warhol, there is no Herman Brood, and there is no Keith Haring. They pay tribute to the CoBrA movement, which in its naivety and its informality still is, well, actually a happy movement. Halfway the 50s, the art scene would slowly shift from Paris to New York, and you could say that the CoBrA movement was one of the last big outbursts of creativity in Paris. Now, what strikes me most with the Dutch artists in Paris is that they were all great networkers. In fact, when you look at Henri Scheffer, he soon surrounded him with the elite of France, including the King of France. And the friends of Jonkind, the Barbizon painters, just a couple of decades later, they gathered money with an auction to get him back from the Netherlands into Paris. That is quite a virtue, right? You have to do that, you have to know how that works. Kees van Dongen was the party man of, well, Montmartre and later on Montparnasse. Piet Mondriaan was a different kind of guy. He was maybe not as stiff as we would think. He did do a lot of networking on the dance floor. Even the short-lived CoBrA movement, they really managed to create a group of artistic friends around them that could really push the arts forward. And that is quite a virtue, right? Networking. Maybe I should go networking as well. Here I end my talk about the Dutch artist in Paris. I hope you have had a good insight of how these folks have contributed to the arts throughout the centuries. Yeah, there's so much more to discover, but that's for another time. For now, I would say bye-bye.